It somehow got even worse for the Florida Panthers. I have a huge update on Dmitry Kulikov's injury, and Paul Maurice shaking things up a little bit ahead of tonight's matchup against the Detroit Red Wings in Detroit. What are those changes? I'll tell you right now on this episode of Panthers Digest. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I am your host, Greg Andrews. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. You guys need to get up to date and stay up to date with anything and everything that's to do with your back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. I'm sorry, I'm in disbelief right now because of this. I'm just going to jump right into it. Dmitry Kulikov is going to be out for 5 months. He had a labral tear. What that is officially called is a slap lesion. It is called a superior labrum anterior to posterior. I've had this surgery 3 times, guys, in the same shoulder. It is not a fun one to have to rehab because your range of motion is one of the hardest things to get back in the shoulder because it physically has to be maneuvered a lot. I mean, any surgery with the swelling, with the scar tissue buildup, all of that, it takes a lot of physical maneuvering of the joint for it to get back to where it needs to be. I'm assuming it's arthroscopic. That's the good thing. And I'm hoping the guys at Baptist Health are doing a surgery. One of those guys, Uribe Heckman, Vijay, San Giovanni, one of those guys. One of the guys that Dr. Uribe performed Aleksander Barkov's knee surgery, so I'm assuming it's probably going to be one of those gentlemen I just named. Dr. John Vijay did my surgery on my shoulder, so props to him. It tore 3 times, not because anything he did wrong. It's just because I was super active in weightlifting and all that stuff. But that's a story that has nothing to do with this. So anyways, Kulikov will be out for 5 months. The slap lesion, the labrum in the shoulder. It's a cartilage that it's a stabilizer in the joint. There is the bicep tendon that does attach to it. So who knows how much he tore. I tore 90% of mine the very first time I had a tear in it. And they put anchors in it that put it back onto the bone, put it back into position. It heals up, and usually you're good to go after several months. But again, that the physical maneuvering of that shoulder for him to have the recovery is going to be rough. I hated mine every single time I went through it, and it was never easy the second time or the third time. But anyways, he's going to be out in future episodes, possibly tomorrow, because I want to hear what the front office has to say about this. I want to hear what Paul Maurice has to say about this before I start talking salary cap, LTIR, any of that stuff, because we already know Bjorn Foote was called up. We also know Belinskas took Kulikov's spot when the injury first happened, and he's on that third pairing. So really sucks. This is a gut punch. Another 4th guy could be going on LTIR. Not good. Not good for the Cats. But anyways, let's keep rolling along here, guys. So this is just a little bit more about what a torn labrum is, because there's 3 different kinds of tears that can happen. And it says you can, easy way to confuse these things. First type is one where the labrum is completely torn off the bone. It usually is associated with an injury to the shoulder in which the shoulder has subluxated or dislocated. Sometimes this type of tear occurs, and the individual does not even realize the shoulder is slid out of the socket. Okay, but you will lose stability. There'll be cracking, there'll be popping, there'll be lots of pain. I mean, I could barely keep my arm up on my steering wheel when mine first happened to me when I was 16, 17 years old in high school. The second one is a tear with the substance of the labrum itself. The edges of the labrum, they will fray, and then the edges are not smooth anymore, and that tearing is very common and rarely causes any symptoms. It's frequently in the shoulder as people get older, and it's just a basic wear and tear kind of thing that happens. Third type is an area where the bicep tendon attaches to the upper end of the socket, and the socket can be divided into 4 different regions: the anterior, posterior, superior, and inferior. And there usually is an issue with that and becomes dislodged and can tear away. I'm assuming it's probably the first one, and that's the more severe of them, where they have to reattach it to the bone. I, again, do not want to over-speculate on this because we do not know exactly what kind of tear it was. If they say slap lesion, that will usually mean it's that first one. That means he tore from that little ring that's in there, that's the cartilage like this, it tore somewhere from there to there, maybe the whole thing, and they just have to reattach it, or maybe part of it came off. I don't know. Mine, like I said, was 90% of the way torn. They had to reattach it. Pretty terrible. But anyways, guys, out for 5 months. Unfortunate situation for the Cats, but you know what? Next man up. And that's pretty much where we are right now. But before we move forward onto tonight's game, I just wanted to say the last video, I want you all to realize something. I was not saying that it's panic mode for the Panthers. I was not saying, oh, they're the worst team in the league now. It's one loss. I know. I wasn't overreacting. I was just merely pointing out one fact. And I do understand any team can lose on any day. Whoever wrote that on there, duh, in any sport, anywhere in the planet, if you're an athlete and you're in a team or an individual sport, whatever it is, you can lose on any given day. Duh. But what I was trying to say is the way that they actually played on the ice, their physical play that they usually have, they were physical, yes, but the energy was not there. Some of the mistakes they were not making in their first 3 games. They didn't look like the Cats from the first 3 games. It was a different team. Philadelphia came out and looked like they were going at 150 miles an hour, and the Cats were sitting back and just kind of letting things just happen. Paul Maurice said it best. He said the whole game was this slow puck game. Those were his exact words. Slow puck game. They were not moving it enough. They were not doing enough with it. They were kind of sitting around for the most time. They weren't being cyclical in terms of just always moving in those motions. Keep the puck moving. Keep your body moving. Keep the other players guessing where you're going to be. Keep the goalie on his toes. Move the puck always. Movement. And they weren't doing that. They were sitting around a lot. But I don't want to get into that too much. So I'm just telling you guys, I wasn't saying they're going to make a trade now, anything like that. Very basic blanket statement for me was they did not play like they did in the first 3 games. It's a very long season, and I knew you guys were going to do this. Some of you saying you're doing that. You either didn't watch the whole video, or you watched just the first 2 minutes of it, or you just read the title and read the description and decided to leave a comment and didn't even watch the video. If you watch the whole video, I say it multiple times, it's an 82-game season. There's still 78 games left to play. There's tons of hockey left. This team still has not found their identity. The line's still got to get the chemistry. There's a lot that still needs to happen until a big move is made, if one even needs to be made. I was just merely stating that Bill Zito, since he has become the GM of the Florida Panthers, he's always had a game plan well ahead of anything ever happening. The Matthew Tkachuk thing, he probably had that plan forever. Brad Marchand, he probably had his eye on it the second he saw Matthew Tkachuk go down, or maybe he even had it before that. Same thing with Seth Jones. I feel like he's always a man with a plan well ahead of anything because he knows with what the Cats are doing, going to consecutive Stanley Cup finals, 3 in a row, it's a lot of hockey. Injuries are going to happen. So I can almost guarantee you he's got something up his sleeve, but he's waiting. I said, if they do not do well on this road trip, they come back and they're still not playing that well, and these lines keep having to change, and just the cohesion is just not there, they might have to pull the trigger. Not yet. We're 4 games into the season. I'm not overreacting. I was just making a blanket statement just for the sake of argument, to have a conversation for you guys just to say, yeah, well, you know what, maybe if they are, a good 10, 12 games into the season, and it's just like they're 6-6-0 or 6-4-2, whatever you want to say, and they're falling in the standings, maybe they do need to make a move. Because I'm going to show you some of the numbers right now. I'm not saying any of these guys are going to go, but I just want to show you some of the numbers of what is happening right now. Because there are some chemistry issues if you want to look at some of these lines. Let's get into it, guys. Right back at it. This is the line change. Sam Miskevich has gone to the first line with Bennett and Marchand. Verhaeghe's now been bumped down to the third line. Sam Miskevich and Bennett have both played together last season. Let's hope that chemistry returns. They were decent together. I think Sam Miskevich is having a very solid start to his season, and that's why he's moved up the line. I mean, he's been flying around. He's finding the open guys on the ice. He's been a great passer so far. His plus-minus is a little bit better than Verhaeghe. Bennett, though, has been a killer on the plus-minus. He's -8 this season. Marchand has not been great in the plus-minus too, but that first line I'm not going to say it's been bad. It hasn't been bad. They've been scoring. They've been getting assists and goals and stuff. They've been doing what they need to do, but not to the extent, I think, of what Coach Paul Maurice was expecting that they could possibly do. And I think it kind of showed in the game against Philadelphia. Yeah, Bennett did score. That's great. But they still, that first line has not been able to, I think, be one of those lines that's a first line that can keep up with the other guys on other teams that are on the first liners. So let's keep going with this, guys. So that's the big change right now. Matchup, Florida, Detroit, right now. For the Cats, they're not scoring as many goals per game as Detroit, but hey, they're pretty darn close. Goals against average, we are more than 3/4 of a goal lower for our goals against average, but our shots against are low. Our defense has been very good. I've said this. Our defense has been good, but we have been caught out of position. That is something else I want to tell you guys. Don't call me out, and I'm not saying their defense is terrible. I'm saying they have been caught out of position. That is why most of the goals that have been scored on this team that are not empty netters have not really been on a full setup 5-on-5. They've been odd man rushes and breakaways. So right now, I would say our defense has been holding tight for the most part. The chemistry still is getting worked out. That's why our guys are getting caught out of position. That's why we're getting these really simplified, and looks like we're just kind of trying to get on that forecheck, but we're not, and just dogging ourselves, turning the puck over in bad spots. Not like we're caught watching the puck and not the players. And that's why we're getting caught out of position and letting these teams kind of stick around in these games instead of pulling away. But anyways, power play goals, we have 6. We've been killing it on the power play, 35.3%. Perfect on the penalty kill at 100%. Shorthanded goals, 1, they have none. So far, we are the better team on paper. We have more penalty minutes, yes. But there's one thing that does scare me about the team, and I'll tell you in a little bit. Their top 3 guys are playing like top 3 guys, and they're not young studs. They're older guys, but they are playing like the savvy veterans that they are. But let's keep looking at this. These are the 2 guys that have been playing the best for us right now if you want to talk stats. I know Brad Marchand's plus-minus hasn't been the highest in his career, but he's got 2 goals and 2 assists. Same thing for Anton Lundell. Those guys have been the shining stars so far. They've been leading the way for the Cats. So let's take a look at these numbers, if you guys can see this. Okay, Brad Marchand is -3, yes, but he has 4 points. 2 goals, 2 assists in 4 games. Anton Lundell, same thing, but his plus-minus is at 0. Mackie Samoskevich, now let's compare him to Carter Verhaeghe. 4 games, 1 goal, 2 assists. Like I said, his passing has been very good. From what I could see, just by using my eyes and my eye test, Mackie Samoskevich has been looking great. His passing has been very good. He's been making smart decisions with the puck. Yes, he's had several giveaways, but they haven't been happening in the bad parts of the ice that have led to odd man rushes or breakaways. On the other flip side of that, Carter Verhaeghe just had that happen in the last game. A careless pass behind him went to nobody except the Philadelphia Flyers, who took it the other direction and scored. So anyways, Mackie Samoskevich, 1 and 2. He's got 3 points on the season, 0 plus-minus. Carter Verhaeghe, 4 games, 1 and 1, 2 points, -4. So the things that I circled here, that was the original top line. Marchand, -3. Carter Verhaeghe, -4. And Sam Bennett at -8. If you want to add that up, guys, that says more goals are getting scored against us with that line than for us. That's not good. That's not good. I think that's why the change is happening. I think Samoskevich could hopefully light a bit of a fire on that first line. He could find Bennett and hopefully get him set up tonight and have him score a couple of goals. Maybe get Marchand in that too and get that first line looking like a badass first line. I'm not saying they were looking horrible, but if you're just looking at the basic, just look at the numbers. It's right there. My God, just 2 guys alone with Verhaeghe and Bennett, you're at -12. Then you add in Brad Marchand's -3, you're at -15 on the season in just 4 games. That's not good. That's not what you want out of your first line. But let's keep moving on. These are the 3 guys on the Detroit Red Wings who are playing absolutely out of their minds. Larkin, DeBrincat, and Kane have been great so far this season. These are their numbers right there. They're all at the top. Oh, and Raymond is not playing tonight. That's why I put the NP there. He has officially been ruled out. He will not play, so a little bit of a, okay, good. We don't have to get 4 guys who have all been playing solid hockey so far for the start of the season. So Patrick Kane has been great. 4 points on the year, a goal and 3 assists. DeBrincat's got 4 assists on the season. And Dylan Larkin, 2 goals, 1 assist, 3. Really nicely done by those guys. Scary, yeah, kind of, not really. I mean, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, like I said, our first line could be a little bit more energized tonight. I hope the whole team can be energized. They come out and start taking it to the Detroit Red Wings right off the bat. They looked a little flat-footed in the last game. That's what I was saying. They didn't look like the energy was there compared to the Flyers. I think tonight will be different. I really hope this change says to some of the veterans, guys, no one on this team is going to be staying on any line that they are currently on because anything is possible. We're going to have to mix and match. We're going to find things that are going to work chemistry-wise. If somebody's playing better than somebody else and they're on a bottom line, we're going to bump them up and see what happens if we are able to replace someone else. Because, again, I just think that Mackie Samoskevich is just playing better hockey right now than Carter Verhaeghe. I really do. I mean, he's flying around all over the place and just doing it in all facets of the game in all 3 stages. Offense, neutral ice, and defensively. He's been doing it all. He's been really solid. I know the plus-minus, yeah, it's a little bit better, but still. But Detroit is playing good hockey. At 2-1 right now, Cats are 3-1. They've been playing really well, and that crowd is going to be loud tonight. I'm not going to say the Cats are going to lose because I think they're going to pull this one out. I think they're going to come out with the energy. They're going to be focused. And I really think they're going to be playing for all of the guys that are injured right now. And I think they're a little embarrassed about their play against the Philadelphia Flyers in the last game because they had their number when they were playing down here in Sunrise. And it sure as hell didn't look like that was the same team that they played up in Philly. It looked like 2 different teams. Or I should say the Cats looked like 2 different teams. But anyways, guys, they got to put away their chances tonight. I do like the move of Samoskevich being on that top line. He has played with Bennett before, and I do think that's going to push that first line to another level, I hope, and still a little bit more energy, a different perspective, different style of play that I hope will elevate Bennett and get him on the board quick tonight. And I think Bennett needs to be a little more aggressive in front of the net. We have not really seen him as the Bennett of playoff Bennett this season so far. So let's hope we get to see that. I do hope that Lucian and Lindell line, Reinhart line, they fire it up too. And who knows, maybe that third line again. We'll keep talking about it. Maybe that could be the secret to this Panthers team right now is our third line being better than everybody else's like it was last year in the playoffs. And that's how we're going to pull away with these W's with all of these injuries right now. But we're not going to get into injuries anymore right now in terms of LTIR. Who could the Cats go after? No, we're not doing that. We're done. Game is tonight, guys. It's going to be a good one. I think it's on ESPN and HBO or TNT and HBO Max, something like that. But it is going to be nationally televised, guys. So definitely tune in and watch it. It's going to be a good one. I believe it's 7 p.m. with like a 7:10 puck drop, something like that. But don't miss it. It's going to be a killer game tonight. I'm very, very, very little, I don't want to say more anxious, but with some excitement there just because I want to see the Cats come out with a lot of energy. All right, guys. So anyways, thank you all so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. Talk to you guys later. Go Cats.